The most powerful photos in history. Tiny Victim, 2015. This photo has turned into one of the most controversial and yet heartbreaking photos in 2015, and perhaps even the 21st century. This is a photo of a 3-year-old boy from Syria named Aylan Kurdi that washed ashore on the coast of Turkey after his family was trying to escape from the turmoil in Syria. Europe and the rest of the world have been going through an intense crisis with refugees, and this photo has been used to show the heartlessness of those who want to close up their borders from those who really need their help. Widow's Closure, 2013. Clara Gant became a widow during the Korean War after her husband, Army Sergeant Joseph Gant, never came home. 6 decades later, his remains finally returned home. This heartbreaking photo of a 95-year-old widow sobbing over the flag-draped casket touched the hearts of people around the world and reminded us just how strong love can be. Clara never remarried and considers herself blessed to have stayed alive long enough to bury her husband. Catherine Cathy, 2005. Catherine Cathy's husband died in Iraq in August of 2005. During his deployment, she learned that she was pregnant. Heartbroken over the news, Catherine refused to leave her husband's casket the day before he was supposed to be buried. So the Marines keeping watch made a makeshift bed for her so she could sleep next to her husband one more time. The photo goes viral repeatedly every year around Memorial Day and reminds everyone that not only do soldiers make sacrifices, but their families do as well. The Falling Man, 2001. There are thousands of horrifying images taken during the tragedy of September 11, 2001, but one such image would claim immortality and hit the covers of newsstands worldwide. The image is simply called The Falling Man, and it was a photo taken of a man who had jumped from one of the towers of the World Trade Center. Many of the jumpers had no choice, as they were dying from smoke inhalation, and there was no hope of escaping as the planes blocked their exit. KKK Child, 1992. This image from a KKK rally depicts a young child dressed in KKK garments staring into his reflection on the shield of a black state trooper while the trooper curiously looks on. Given the irony of the situation, people hesitate to call the image adorable, but in reality, no one really knows how to react given the situation at the time. Tank Man, 1989. Tank Man has remained an iconic image during times of war of the power of the people. On June 5, 1989, after the Chinese military stopped the protests in Tiananmen Square, a single man managed to prevent a line of tanks from proceeding any further. Whenever the tanks tried to shift to go around the man changed his position. The identity and the fate of Tank Man still remains unknown today. Napalm Girl, 1972. One of the most haunting images of the Vietnam War, Napalm Girl is really an 11-year-old girl named Kim Phuc and was caught in the middle of an attack from South Vietnamese troops. Napalm bombs were dropped and Kim started screaming "too hot" repeatedly while ripping her clothes off. Nick Ut snapped the infamous photo. After some debate on publication due to the girl's nudity, the New York Times decided to publish it. The photo ended up winning the Pulitzer Prize. The Starving Boy and the Missionary, 1980. A starving child in Uganda holds hands with a missionary in this iconic photo. The child's hand is tiny, shriveled up, and malnourished, while the missionary's hand is large and well-fed. The photo became a symbol of just how lucky some countries are, and that fate has a weird way of placing each person in their respective country. The Last Glimpse of the Titanic, 1912. One of the biggest tragedies to have ever taken place in the beginning of the 20th century, the Titanic's mystique and wonder mainly comes from the fact that there weren't a lot of photos and video taken of the vessel before her deadly maiden voyage. In what is believed to be the last photo of the ship, we see the Titanic descend towards her inevitable doom. The Crying Violin, 2009. A boy named Diego became famous after a photo was taken of him while he was crying and playing at his music teacher's funeral. His teacher, Evandra Joa de Silva, died in Rio de Janeiro during an assault. Diego took Silva's death hard, as it was his music teacher who helped him escape from poverty and violence while cultivating the child's love for music. We hope this video moved you. Here are some other videos that we think you might enjoy, and don't forget to click subscribe. Thanks.